Hey guys, so I'm going to do a comprehensive video featuring the 736 here. 736 was a mainstay of Lionel, and until I actually sat down and compiled what was going to go into this video, I never had any idea of how often this engine was included in their sets. So it ran 15 years. That's longer than any other engine number that I can find anywhere else. It had a couple of variations. The early models had the die-cast trailing truck, and later models had the stamped metal. It came with two different tenders, but same style. One other oddity is this engine was in 15 sets, like I said. All of them were freight sets. This engine was never pictured and matched up with any passenger cars. If you hunt these down, you know that they're more expensive than most. The one thing you would figure that if it ran 15 years, it would be so common that everybody would have one, and it wouldn't be as much money as it ended up being. But the reality set in where this engine always came with their premier rolling stock and accessories for whatever year it was released. And even though it ran 15 years, there were two years where it was on break because of the Korean War, where you didn't have magnet traction. So the 726 for those years was reintroduced, with the 726 denoting that it did not have magnet traction. So with that all said, I hope you enjoy the following set synopsis, and please keep watching. So here's a 1950 set, 736, and it was set number 2165 WS, and originally sold for $57.50. In the set was a 3472 milk car. This is the rarer one with the 3482 and the 3472 misprint. Then it had the standard Lehigh Valley hopper, a 3461 log dump car, and the traditional 6457 lighted caboose with toolbox and smokestack. So also in 1950, the 736 was offered in set 2163 WS. And again, it was only the 1950 versions that had the 12-wheel tender marked with the double X, WX suffix. So in this set was a 6472 refrigerator car, the red maroon 6462 gondola, a 6555 single dome tank car, and the 6457 caboose. The next chapter for the 736 was in 1953. It came back in 1952. End of 51, you had the Korean War going on, so there was no Magna traction. So that year, Lionel went back to the 726, or the 726 double R. But 1953 arrives, and here is the 736 returning with set number 2205 WS, and originally sold for $59.75. That set consisted of the automobile car, double door blue, the operating Pennsylvania boxcar, a 3-dome tank car, a black gondola, and the new Pennsylvania porthole caboose. And then finally for 1953 was the premier set for the 736. Again, 1953, their 12-wheel tender was gone and was replaced with the 8-wheel tender. But the premier set was set number 2213 WS. And besides the 736, it came with the automatic log dump car, a 3520 generator car, 3469 ore dump car, a 6460 work caboose, and a 6460 crane, and a 6419 work caboose. So for 1954 was a repeat of the 1953 set, and that set was set number 2225 WS. It originally sold for $69.50. Two changes were with the rolling stock. Gone were the ore dump car, replaced with the barrel loader car with the cream ramp, and they changed the 3464 black log dump to the green log dump. Everything else remained the same. So for 1955, the 736 was paired up with all new rolling stock for set number 2249 WS O-gauge set, and it sold for $69.50. In the set were the 64 State of Maine, a 6414 auto loader car, a twin dump ore car, the yellow barrel car, and a 6417 caboose. 1956, the 736 reappears again with another consist of rolling stock. It was set number 2265 WS, selling again for $69.95. And this consist was the 3620 Searchlight car, the 3424 Wabash operating brakeman car, the 6430 flat with vans, the 6467 miscellaneous car, and pulling up the rear is the 6517 bay window caboose. For 1957, the 736 was transitioned into Super O duty and came with Super O track, and they once again updated the rolling stock that went with the set. So for 1957, the set number was 2289 WS with a retail price of $75. So it came with the 736. Another state of Maine boxcar, but this was the operating variety with the plunger and the man popping out when you activated it with the track remote control. Again, the twin dump showed up. They kept the van car, added a 3361 log dump, and ended it with a porthole caboose. The 736 was absent from the 1958 lineup, but made a strong comeback in 1959 with, once again, it's a Super O set, 2543 WS, and it originally sold for $95. This is probably my favorite set for the 736. With it came the aquarium car, the poultry dispatch car, the lumber car, which came with the platform with the forklift. Again, the track maintenance car. An odd car for this consist was the 6823 missile car and a 6557 smoking caboose. Pretty nice set, and we'll send this guy around. Well, before we do, we'll check out the So as Lionel entered into the 60s, they started slipping a little bit, and their prices were still high. So in 1960, they offered the set number 2553 WS. Once again, it's still a Super O set. Rolling stock that came with this had the unique Bosco milk car. This set sold for $100, and to me, you don't see near the play value of the prior year's set. So here we are at our 736. They continued with the aquarium car, the operating Bosco car. Now they added a 3830 operating submarine car, the operating helicopter car 3419, and ended this set with the 6357 standard caboose. So now we're entering 1961, and in 1961 the set with the 736 was number 2573. It sold for $75. And I don't know if this is a story on a 736 or how much rolling stock Lionel produced. So for this set, it came with the Pickles car, and in my collection I do not have a Pickles car, so this is going to be the simulation. This was a K-line VAT car, and so that's being substituted for the pickle car. It came with a flat with vans, but the vans flat car that it should have came with was the gray vans with no nameplates, so it was a little bit more cost cutting, cutting down, not including nameplates. But then it came with the boat car, which was pretty rare, and the TV car, which was also on the rare end of the spectrum. And it ended with a 6357 caboose. So sorry for the substitutions, but I don't have everything. For those that don't realize, the TV car, the camera operator he spins as the car goes around. TV car is a neat looking car. Doesn't get much airtime, I don't think, but that's a pretty good example of one. Alright, we'll move on to the next year. For 1962, the 736 set number was 13048. It sold for $75. I do not even have the rolling stock to make up this set. This set consisted of a repeat of the trailer car with the gray trailers with no name tags. It had the more modern Searchlight car with the red plastic bottom and the plastic superstructure. I do not have one of those. It had the Evans autoloader with 4 yellow cars with gray bumpers, and it had the helium dump car with the silver dowel tanks where they were mitered down on the ends to simulate the helium tanks. So, don't have that one to show. We'll move on to the next year. For 1963, the set number was 13118. Sold for $75. Included the Lehigh Valley red hopper. And the red hopper on this set was covered. Came with the orange chemical car, tank car. Came with the power shovel car. Again, it came with the helium car, which, as noted, I do not have. The helium car was green molded plastic with the simulated helium tanks. And it came with the 6560 crane and the gray work caboose. Nice consist of cars with this set. Send her around. For 1964, the 736 came in 2 sets. First one being set number 12700 at $59.95, and set number 12710, which was identical, just that they included a transformer, and that one sold for $75. So this set was a unique one, and it's almost impossible to find any set box components because they're almost all marked wrong. So this set came with the 6464 725 New Haven boxcar, which was always marked 750 on the set, but it was actually 725. It came with a red gondola, which would have been if I had the right one, the red plastic would have matched the red plastic of the canisters. The autoloader car came with the 4 red gray bumper varieties, but at the same time it was known to surface with the super cheapy cars with no windows or wheels. And it should have had a yellow Lehigh Valley hopper, which, as far as the set box was concerned, it was marked a 6456, and it really was a 6156. So the hopper should have been yellow, and then they ended it with a standard porthole caboose. One other thing to note with the 64 set, the rolling stock included in this set was identical to the other 1964 set that had the 2383 F3s, Santa Fe F3s, the silver war bonnets. So the set components were the same. They just swapped out the engines. So for that year, rolling stock was the same in 2 sets. They just swapped out the engines. So in closing, the 736 ended its production in 1964, and I hope this was interesting for all those involved. For me, it was a true test of how much rolling stock Lionel incorporated into their sets, and I had no idea that this was going to be as comprehensive as it was. I originally meant for this video to be all about the 736 and the 726, but now due to the amount of sets covered, I'm going to put the 726 edition in another video. Thanks for your interest. As always, please subscribe and hit the like button. Have a good day.